Can you feel it? Nothing can save ya, but this is the season of catching the vapors. And since I got time, what I'm gonna do is tell you how they spread it throughout.
This has got a video for you guys. This is a prediction for the upcoming bout between Danny Green and Krzysztof Wlodarczyk on November 30th for the WBC Cruiserweight Championship. Puts together challenger and former champion Danny Green against current WBC Cruiserweight champion Krzysztof Wlodarczyk. So overall, this is going to be an interesting fight. Said most, this is the third defense for the WBC crown for Wlodarczyk, and Danny Green just lost the minor championship to Antonio Tarver. And it's quite surprising that Danny Green is back in the ring 4 months following the fight. He's fighting for a major title, and Antonio Tarver doesn't have any fights scheduled. But overall, rumor has it, I'm not too sure, but I heard that with the last fight with Antonio Tarver, Danny Green wasn't 100%. And when you look at the fight, you can see that even if he was 100%, Antonio Tarver just had his number in that fight. And pretty much that the Antonio Tarver that fought that night, pretty much would have defeated any version of Danny Green most likely. So this opponent, Wlodarczyk, is actually very solid. Is a very solid fighter. He stands straight. Usually he stands straight up. He's patient in the early rounds. Doesn't really go for the knockout. Kind of lets the knockout go to him. Good counter puncher, and pretty much throws very short punches on the inside, and I think that's probably the kind of fighter Danny Green wants to face. A very patient fighter, being that he's not too much of a patient fighter. This is an opponent that he can just come out and just attack, just because of that style of where he stands upright, shells up, and also there's from time to time where Wlodarczyk is very elusive, not necessarily elusive like moving the shoulders like side to side like Philly shell type style, but he kind of ducks and dips down to where he kind of slips punches and kind of slips right hooks and jabs. So in this fight for Danny Green, I think that one thing that Danny Green has to do in this fight, he does have to box in the early rounds. In the early rounds, Wlodarczyk does kind of give those rounds away, because what he's trying to do in the early rounds, he's trying to figure his opponent out. So, and also what's been seen in fights is Wlodarczyk has trouble against fighters that move and box, and he will stand with a shell when you're punching at him. So in this fight, he needs to stand upright, and just jab and move his feet. Green's feet are very quick. He has quick feet. Puts together good combinations from the outside. So in this fight, I think in the early rounds, he needs to come in and he needs to just box with Wlodarczyk. He needs to box with him, use the footwork to the best of his advantage, because Wlodarczyk likes to be in front of his opponent and has to set himself before he punches. So he wants to pretty much take this. He wants to fight at a moderate pace early. Just jab towards the middle of his guard, jab toward the middle of the guard. Avoid walking inside to a counter left or counter right hook, and pretty much use circle around the ring, use some lateral movement, set them up, use some angles in the fight, because if you use angles against a fighter that squares up the way that Wlodarczyk does, then they have difficulty, because they have to set their feet a specific way. Danny Green does square up himself. He does square up and throws his jab, which is quite awkward when you kind of square up and you're throwing the jab and you want to move. But Danny Green can actually pull it off, and I think that just in this fight, he has to in the early goings of the fight, there's gonna be rounds to where Wlodarczyk is gonna give to him, and he needs to just take these rounds early in the fight. So after the early goings of the fight, I think he needs to come out probably in the mid to late rounds and just attack Wlodarczyk before Wlodarczyk gets a rhythm. See, movement is going to be the key to Wlodarczyk not getting an early rhythm in the fight. Movement is going to be the key. And movement, jabbing from the outside, not really attacking early in the fight, because if you attack him, then he'll kind of try to figure you out. Because Wlodarczyk is the type of fighter that makes adjustments to one style, and he needs to make adjustments to multiple styles in this fight. So I think that in the mid to late rounds, he needs to come out and he needs to attack Wlodarczyk. Look for the counter left hook that he throws very well, and probably the right cross inside when he's throwing. Answer his right hook back with a left hand with a jab, and I think he can very well win this fight. For Wlodarczyk in this fight, I think he wants to make this an inside fight, center of the ring inside fight, because as I mentioned, he throws very short, crisp hooks on the inside, and also early in the fight, he wants Danny Green to go backward. And even though he can fight going back, and he throws his left hook very well off the back foot, that's usually the only punch he throws off the back foot is the left hook, and he does get a lot of leverage on that left hook. But since Wlodarczyk is staying straight up and he blocks him a lot of shots, I think he could block that left hook, kind of look like that catch and release type of adage of catching punches like on the gloves or on the arms and just returning the shot. And I think that he needs to counter a lot of Danny Green's punches. He needs to go to the body early in the fight. If he goes to the body early in the fight, then that can play with Green's momentum later in the fight, if he can maintain a certain level of momentum. So I think he just needs to go to the body early in the fight, and it will pay dividends later. And pretty much try to make this an inside fight. I think that he has a good chance of winning this fight if he can make this an inside fight. I just think that this is the kind of fight that Wlodarczyk wants to fight. And if it's not an inside fight, then he's going to have to counter a lot of Danny Green's shots, and there's going to be plenty of openings for Wlodarczyk to counter. So who I think is going to win this fight? This one quite tough to call. But I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm going to go with Danny Green in this fight. I think Danny Green could very well pull it off, because I think he's going to maintain a high level of activity, and he's going to use a lot of movement to where Wlodarczyk more likely won't be able to keep up with him. So I think that Danny Green will pretty much take some early rounds and pretty much take a decision victory. Because I really think that if Wlodarczyk wins it, I think Wlodarczyk is going to have to knock him out. He's either going to have to knock him out or find a way to neutralize Green's attack early in the fight. So anyway, that was The Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.